Hello, my name is Paulo Joaquin Silardo and I'm here to explain on the rights, the duties, the confidentiality, as well as the conflict resolution that are to be done in the work area or in a professional environment. Now, let's start with the very first one, which would be rights and duties. Now, for rights and duties, it would start by, let's say, having your duties. Well, duties can be summed up by just what you're supposed to do and what you need to do by the day. Like, let's say you are you're in charge of quality control, and then your duty would be that you must ensure that the products that you are to be distributed will be up to date, up to quality, and it's up to standard. For and let's take another example, like let's say you are the health inspection or health and safety. So you need to check the workplace in which determine which is safe and which is are not, which are hazards, which are potential hazards. And it's also your job to like notify the managers for your said findings. And to further add, the duties of a manager is to manage all of these things to make sure that the work area flows properly, and the manager manages to like keep the team to do their job and properly as well as effectively. Now let's go on to rights, and some example of the rights of a worker would be the right for personal equipment. Let's say you are working in an electric based job. The most basic would be rubber equipment or rubber PPE that protects you against unnecessary accidents such as electrocution. And if you are, let's say, in the fire departments, and when the fire comes out, of course the rights for your safety, in which in term it's equipment. So you would want some fire resistant equipment such as gloves or maybe one of those jackets they have, as well as a hard hats. And for doctors, especially those who are covering or taking cases that are more on the hazard side, that would be to use PPE. And it's also nice to remember that there are some learnings and in terms of rights in the workplace about your safety, which is very important. You should know about the ergonomical, the economical, the physical, the chemical and as well as the other hazards that may come out when you are working in the workplace. And the most very important part of your rights is that when you feel like your work will endanger you in some hazard or some hazards, then you have the right to refuse the work because it endangers your life. Now, to move on, let us go on with the confidentiality, which is keeping secrets or like being like basic common sense. You know that a certain topic is sensitive to some people, so you should probably try to avoid that thing. Now, confidentiality and conflict resolution both ties to one another, but confidentiality is more, let's say, higher than it because it involves many things such as company secrets, clients information, techniques, secrets, procedures that has the potential to put your company that you are working on to a disadvantage to their other competitors. That's why confidentiality is important, as well as confidentiality upon your own self. You don't want others to see you as a different image on what you're trying to expect yourself. Now, to further add, the confidentiality can be both bounded by law or maybe just common sense. You can't talk about social racism in front of others with that have different ethnicity. You can't talk about crucial company secrets that has the potential to like make the market go down for its for your company, that is just unethical. And in terms of unethical, let's go to the final area, which is conflict resolution. Now, when there is conflict in the workplace, the most recommended procedure is to just finish it today, as soon as possible, as quick as possible, so that work can be done as quick as possible. Now, if the instances that the conflict cannot really be resolved within a day, then it's also advisable that you are to keep it only inside the circle. Don't leave it outside. If it happened on like this, on your group of like, if you are having arguments on your group about work, then it should stay during work, not when you're like during break hours or during off time hours, when you're finally going home, and instead of enjoying time to rest, you continue arguing about work. Now the best way to now in my opinion, the best way to resolve conflict is that to just talk it out and just find common ground that you may be able to like understand one another and find a solution that both benefits both parties. And if like talking it out with one another does not help, it's also advisable to seek help to like your team leaders or supervisors. And if it even goes worse, human resources is also an option. Now, in what I have learned in this module is that we have so many rights, so many duties depending on like which type of work you're in. Like what I've mentioned in this video, if you're a fireman, you put out fires, and then like your rights as a worker, that you, and your most basic rights such as rights for safety and like confidentiality, and confidentiality in which you must like hide some certain information about yourself as well as the company you're working at, and conflict resolution, that where in which you must resolve conflict so that there will be no conflict at all. Other than that, that is all. That is my video. That is my understanding on module 4. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.